Okay, I think we're going to get started. There may be a few people joining as we're talking here, but just to keep time, we'll get started now. So thanks very much, everybody. My name is Devin Thompson. I'm the Senior Manager of Customer Success here with Stantive. I also have Darren Smith, who's our training specialist. We're going to be jumping into the OrchestraCMS Summer 16 release. We're really excited to share a lot of the information that we have, as this particular release has been something that we've really kind of focused on in terms of customer feedback. So Darren's going to go through the actual roadmap of what's included in the Summer 16 release, the actual high-level overview, why these features matter to you, as well as how you can actually use them. So he's going to go through a demo. Throughout the presentation, I'll actually be asking for some additional feedback from you guys. So we will launch a couple polls. And at the very end, we'll talk a little bit about what's coming next and things to look for from us. So Darren, I think it's time. You can go ahead and take it away.
Fantastic. Thank you, Devin. So I'm glad to have everyone here with us today. We have a new release of OrchestraCMS, and we're excited to share it with you. So Stantive has a wonderful set of customers and partners who provide valuable input on features and enhancements they'd like to see. And our OrchestraCMS Summer 16 release is here to show you that we've heard you. So we've introduced a slew of new features based on your feedback. For example, in-context editing makes OrchestraCMS pages easier to edit by providing editors and authors a view of the page as it would look live while they're in editing mode, providing an intuitive interface for editing in context. Have you ever needed to know all the pages that a file you are trying to have you ever needed to know all the pages that use a file you're trying to update? Dependency management makes your job easier by providing visibility into all the connected components so you can identify the relationships of all the pages, content, and media of your site. Media libraries have been streamlined to reduce the time that it takes for you to manage updates to your website's collateral files. And we've added enhancements to the OrchestraCMS chatter templates, making them simpler to manage and adding functionality on the front end for your site's visitors. For the developers out there, we've added a new layer of APIs to enable content creation and editing from outside of OrchestraCMS. And lastly, although not strictly a feature of OrchestraCMS Summer 16, we're also taking this opportunity to introduce you to OrchestraCMS Lightning blogs, our new Salesforce Community Builder Lightning components that allow you to build blogs in the native Salesforce community. So let's dive right in. We have updated the OrchestraCMS media libraries, and we've added versioning. Now you can update a file in the media library without any need to update the links on your site that point to that file. All links to the original file will now point to the new copy. At any point, you can revert the file back to the previous copy since a version history is maintained. So what this gives you is better governance and assets tracking. It also decreases turnaround time on file updates. For example, one of your stakeholders sends you an updated file and you need to replace that file on page such and such. Copy the link from the live site and use that to search the media library. OrchestraCMS will take you right to the file in the media library and you can update the file. Need to add assets to the media library? You can now do it faster by bulk uploading multiple files. Not only can you select more than one file at a time to upload, but you can now drag and drop files to be uploaded into the media library. Were you ever unsure that the file you were trying to update in the media library was the right file? Now you can download any file or version of a file directly from the media library to confirm that it's the same one you're trying to update. So let's take a look at this now. So a typical scenario for updating a file on the website involves some stakeholder without access to the OrchestraCMS application emailing you a file and saying, hey, on this page of the website, I need to update this file. So here we are on the benefits page of my website. Yes, I understand it's simplistic, but at the same time, this is demonstrating the concept. And so we see here that there's a link to a dental claims form. Stakeholder has sent me a new copy of the dental claims PDF file and asked me to update this link on the website with the new PDF file. So I open up the link that they've indicated. I copy the link to the file. I open up the media library in OrchestraCMS, select the library that contains the file, and there's now a search box available. I paste the link that I copied into the search box, and perform my search. The library is searched and returns the file related to the link that I pasted in. You'll notice that one of the things returned is the name of the folder within the media library that that file resides in. If I click the name of the folder, it actually takes me to that folder in the media library. We can see here I've got the dental claims PDF, and I now need to confirm that this dental claims PDF is actually the file I'm trying to update. Not a problem. When you hover over the file name of any file in the media library now, there's a download link available. Previously, in OrchestraCMS, you could select any image file and you get a little preview in the bottom left-hand corner. But there was no way to confirm that any other file was the file that you were looking for to view the contents of that file. So we can now click the link to download the file. And when I do this, I can save that file to my hard drive and open it from there to confirm that it's the file I'm looking for. Once I've confirmed that it is indeed the file that I'm looking for, I can choose to upload to this folder in the media library. I get the standard upload dialog. We've modified this dialog now to accept drag and drop. So if I take the files that I want, I can drag and drop them from my hard drive onto this dialog, or I can use the Browse button and select multiple files at the same time and have them indicated in the dialog. When I choose to upload, OrchestraCMS does a check and says, hey, you already have files named dental claims, health claims, and insurance claims in this folder. If you continue to upload these files, a new version will be created for each of the files. So I can either decline to do this, or I can confirm that that's the behavior I'm looking for. I'm going to confirm. And as we wait for this to upload, you'll notice in the background that the first file, the dental claims PDF file, is actually currently at version 9, and the health claims and insurance claims are currently at version 1. And so once all of the files have been uploaded, when I close the upload dialog, we'll see that now health claims is version 2, and insurance claims is version 2, and dental claims is up to version 10 now. There is no need to go and edit the content that uses that file. All of the links automatically point to the new copy of the file that has been uploaded. Every file in the media library now has a version history that you can access. Fantastic. So when we look at the version history of any document, any file within the media library, every one of the versions itself can be downloaded to verify if I need to revert, for instance, to a previous version, that file is the one I actually want to revert to. So I could now, for instance, select version 3 of the dental claims PDF file and say restore version. When I do this, what's going to happen is version 3 stays where it is, but a copy of version 3 now becomes version 11 of the dental claims PDF file. When you upgrade an existing instance of OrchestraCMS, the media libraries remain as classic unversioned media libraries. When you're ready, your OrchestraCMS administrator can convert your existing libraries into versioned media libraries to gain the benefits of this interface. Are there any questions?
We do have one that's just popped up. I'm just going to open it up now and take a look. Is there a way to defer publishing of the new upload? We want to upload and have it go live at a later time.
So media files are still consumed by content in OrchestraCMS. You can set the content to go live at a specific time, but not the updated media file. As soon as you publish the file, or as soon as you upload the file, it's published and any previous versions are expired. So no, there's no concept of start and end dates around media files.
Thanks, Darren. I'll let you know if anything else comes in here.
All right. So let's take a look at in-context editing. So in addition to the classic page editor interface in OrchestraCMS that you are familiar with now, your editors can now choose to use rendered mode. Rendered mode displays the page as it would appear on your live site. You can select the content you want to affect and move, remove, add, or edit. There's even a new user preference menu that allows users to set this mode as their preferred mode. So this saves your users time and effort when trying to identify which content on the page contains the element that they're trying to edit. Let's take a look at this now. So I'm going to open up the benefits page in OrchestraCMS. This is the same benefits page that we were just looking at on the live website. This is the classic page editor view that you're familiar with now. Up in the corner, you'll notice a rendered mode checkbox. If I select the rendered mode checkbox, the page is now displayed as it would appear when it's published to the live website, very much like the preview function. The preview function is still there, and rendered mode differs from the preview function in that the page is actually editable. For instance, I could select the logo, and now I can drag and drop it somewhere else on the screen to have the logo placed in a different spot. Or you'll notice that although this appears to be a single paragraph of text, it's actually two distinct content items, and I can click on the content item, and I now have a context menu that I can use to remove or edit the item. If I choose edit, then that content opens in OrchestraCMS in the classic form for editing. Additionally, I can double-click anywhere on the page, and all of the panels will be displayed, and I can choose to add new content or existing content or content by taxonomy to any panel on the page. Every time you open a page, you've got to check the rendered mode checkbox. OrchestraCMS now introduces a new Customize menu option in the user menu in the top right. If I choose the Customize option, I can set my own personal preferences. And so any user can actually say that they would prefer to use the rendered mode. That way they don't have to select that box every time they try to edit a page. Since we're here, I'd also like to take a moment to show you a new feature of the OrchestraCMS preview. So when we're looking at the rendered mode or the classic page editor mode, there's a preview button available. It's always been there. This allows us to preview the page, again, showing us what the page would look like if it was published. And when we drop that down, you'll see that there's now a pop-out button available for the preview mode. If I click the pop-out button, a new tab or browser window opens up that shows us that the preview page and provides the URL that we can send to other OrchestraCMS users that they can then use to open the preview of that page in their browser. All right, let's move on to dependency management. So OrchestraCMS is content-centric. There are 3 layers of elements to your site that OrchestraCMS manages: pages, content, and media. Media, which is all the files you offer for download, are used by content, which is then placed on pages. Multiple content might use the same media, and multiple pages may use the same content. So when you're trying to judge the scale of impact that a change on your site may have, it's important to be able to identify the relationships between all of these interdependent elements. And dependency management adds a show connections option to media files, content, and pages so that you can identify what pages are used by a content, or which content is used by a page, or what media files are linked to what content, or even what taxonomy tags are assigned to a content. So let's take a look at how this works. If we go back into the media library with our dental claims PDF file, I need to find out what pieces of content link to or use the dental claims PDF file. So I select the dental claims PDF file in the media library, and from the Manage menu, I have a View Connections option. Choosing View Connections opens up a new dialog that shows me that this is only used by one piece of content, and that content is the benefits forms content. So I actually have two choices at this point. One, I can click on the benefits form content, and it opens that content in OrchestraCMS, and I can see that sure enough, there's the link to the dental claims form PDF file. And I can remove the link if that was what I was aiming for, and then publish that change. Alternatively, just next to each file or content name or page name, there'll be a drill down menu. And if I drill down, I can actually drill further into the benefits form content without ever leaving the initial dialog. And I can see that it resides on the benefits page and that it contains the dental claims PDF file and that there are no taxonomy categories applied to it. From every piece of content, you also have access to the View Connections option. And by opening that up, we can see a list of the pages that this particular content is used on. So we can see that this particular piece of content, the benefits forms content, only resides on the benefits page. And we can, again, click on the media it contains and see that it contains a link to the dental claims PDF file, and that there are no taxonomy categories applied. Each of the items listed is linkable, so that if I click on it, it will open that item in the appropriate tab for editing. And so if I click the benefits page listing, I can see that sure enough, the benefits forms content is here on the benefits page. And if my ultimate goal was to remove it from the website, I could now remove it from this page and publish it. Additionally, pages also have access to the View Connections option, which opens the now familiar dialog and allows us to view all of the content that is on the page. And I can select any one of these pieces of content. Again, it will open that content, or I can select the drill down menu next to a piece of content, and it will change the dialog to show me what page that content resides on, and I can then select to see what media it contains. And if I click on the media, it will open up the media library and show me the folder that contains that file, thus handling all of our dependent relationships. Any questions?
We actually have one that just came in. Does this work with previous versions of the file, also for audit purposes?
Okay, so does it work with previous versions of the file, meaning if you've done an upgrade, then yes. If we're talking about previous versions of a piece of content, then no, everything is based on the most current version of the content or the most current version of the file or the most current version of the page. I'm not sure what we're asking when we say, does it also work with auditing? There's no overall report feature that allows you to sort of print that out.
Okay, so the example for the first portion of the question is see dependencies for previous file. Does something like that exist?
No, there is no going back in time to see whether or not it was like a previous version or anything like that. It's all about the latest version.
Okay.
So Salesforce, of course, provides Chatter for collaboration amongst your community users or your intranet users. And OrchestraCMS exposes a subset of that Chatter functionality and has for a while now through a series of templates. We've made some enhancements recently to those templates. So we've made those enhancements both to the back end to make it easier for your editors and authors to configure the Chatter templates, and also to the front end on your website to enhance the experience for your site's visitors. So on the front end, Chatter feeds are now searchable, allowing your site's visitors to search through the feeds for posts and keywords. The feeds are also now sortable by either original post date or posts that have the most recent activity. Feeds are also paginated so your visitors can have access to all the historic posts. Our goal is to increase the engagement of your users by making it easier for them to access all the information historically from the feeds. On the back end, we focused on groups by making it easier to configure group feeds with autocomplete for simplified handling of large group lists, and by adding community names beside the group names so that you can easily identify which groups belong to which community. We've also added group details templates that list and let you join groups in Salesforce. So let's take a look at this now. Here I've got a groups page. And on the groups page, I've placed a chatter group list template. If we take a look at what this page is going to actually look like, we'll see that it displays a list of the groups that I am allowed to see from within Salesforce. You'll see that it indicates whether or not I'm currently a member of each individual group. If the list of groups is large enough, the pagination will activate at the bottom, allowing me to choose previous and next as I browse through the list of groups, or I can narrow down the list of groups with a live filter. Additionally, filters are provided to show just groups that I'm a member of, or archived groups or not archived groups. Selecting any group is going to take me to another page that is already defined in my instance. On that page, I've placed a group detail template. The group detail template displays Salesforce information about the group, including any descriptions that the administrator has provided, along with the ability to display the members of the group and any files in Chatter belonging to that group. But ultimately, the function is allowing us to join the group. So for any group that I am allowed to join, I can simply click the join button and I will become a member of that Chatter group. Additionally, we now have, if I look at a standard group Chatter feed, provided on the back end through the template, the ability to handle larger lists of groups. For instance, one of our customers has 1,300 Chatter groups, making it very difficult for them to identify the group that they're trying to create the feed for. You can now filter the list, the list will now filter as you type. So as I type bloggers, the bloggers group is the only one available for me to select. Additionally, Salesforce distinguishes between groups that belong to a community and groups that are internal to Salesforce. This makes it difficult to administer groups because you can have groups with the same name in different areas, or also to tell which groups belong to any particular community. I have two communities in this instance. One community is named Blogs, and the other community is named OCMS Community. As you can clearly see in this list, the Bloggers group belongs to the Blogs community, and the Partners group belongs to the OCMS community. When we preview the front end, preview the page to view the front end changes, you'll see here that I've got several posts in my feed. Perhaps we harken back to the dental claims scenario that I had described earlier. I'm looking for the updated dental claims file, and I remember somebody had linked to it in Chatter. I can now search the Chatter feed and find that linked file. Additionally, the Chatter feed is sortable by either posts that have the most recent activity. For instance, the post might be a month old, but somebody just commented on it. If I sort by most recent activity, it will appear at the top of the list. However, if I search by latest posts, then it uses the original post date. So Salesforce has several different file repositories. For example, Salesforce CRM file libraries, Salesforce files attached to records and files posted to Chatter. All are stored in different areas of Salesforce. So Salesforce has recently introduced a feature called Salesforce Files to consolidate access to these different repositories. OrchestraCMS has kept pace with a new content template called File List that you can use to expose Salesforce files on your site. So you can configure it to display file lists from Salesforce users and groups. The files are searchable by metadata and by the content of the file, and can include all files, files shared specifically with you, and files you're following in Salesforce, if Chatter's enabled. This makes it much easier for your visitors to locate and interact with the files they need to get the job done. So if we take a look at this, we can see here I've got a files page, and on the files page, I have a piece of content using the template file list. New template's been added to OrchestraCMS in Summer 16. And if I preview the page, we'll see that it's providing me a list of files from various content repositories within Salesforce. Each of the files has a little plus sign next to it indicating that I can follow that file. Following is a Salesforce function. And if you follow a file in Salesforce, then you will receive notifications when the file is commented on or updated. Again, those notifications come from Salesforce, not strictly an Orchestra function, just something that we're exposing through Salesforce. Clicking the link for any one of those files offers me the ability to download that file. I can filter the list further by filtering it down to just files that are shared with me or just files that I'm following. And additionally, I can search within those files for the name, metadata, and content of the file. So for instance, if I want to find any file that contains the word sandbox, the list is narrowed from 6 to 4. Each of those files contains some reference to sandbox. When we look at the content template on the back end, you'll see that it offers us the ability to display files specific to the logged in user, whoever happens to be viewing the page, a user ID defined of a specific user, a particular chatter group, either by specific selection or dynamically by specifying a G parameter in the URL. We can specify the metadata that's available for each of the files, what happens when somebody clicks on the link to the file, whether or not you want it downloaded, including pagination and search, and the ability to further filter the list by the all files shared with me or following. For the developers in the audience, we've added some new APIs to the Summer 16 release. So the new APIs are focused around creating and editing content programmatically, adding the ability for you to create code that can create, edit, version, expire, target tag, and publish or send content for approval. What this does for you is enable scenarios such as off-platform content authoring and visitor-submitted content creation. For example, if you wanted to develop a custom content scenario where visitors to your website could author articles to be displayed on the site, barring approval, of course, an application could be written or custom content could be written by your development team using the Content API to enable that scenario. Additionally, if you wanted to do off-platform bulk content creation, you could now write a script or application that would be able to process through a list of parameters that you could then fire to OrchestraCMS in a loop to have that content created within OrchestraCMS. If you have any additional interest in the Content API or any of the other OrchestraCMS APIs, I encourage you to reach out to our customer support team, who would be glad to provide you with links to those documents. Those documents are also available on Stantive's portal called The Pulse. You can contact customer support for an account to access The Pulse. And if you currently have an account, you can find the API documentation and examples on the documentation page of The Pulse, or the resources page, sorry, of The Pulse. With Salesforce pursuing the direction for Lightning and the Lightning experience, one of the things that we're focusing on is Lightning components that are powered by OrchestraCMS in the back end. So although not strictly related to the OrchestraCMS Summer 16 release, as a matter of fact, this functionality is currently available in conjunction with the OrchestraCMS Winter 16 release. We thought this would be the perfect opportunity to let you know about our new Lightning Blogs components. So Stantive is proud to announce new Lightning components available in Salesforce Community Builder. So OrchestraCMS Blogs are Community Builder Lightning components available for native Salesforce communities, as in communities not managed by OrchestraCMS. This offers simplified content management, allowing your community members to author content directly in the Salesforce community. The setup's easy. Blog authors are added to OrchestraCMS, although they don't actually use the OrchestraCMS interface itself, as most of the content is authored directly through the community. The blog categories are managed through OrchestraCMS as taxonomies, and the blog pages are authored through the Salesforce Community Builder. When authoring the blogs in the community, there are draft and published statuses, so we can prevent the blog posts from being seen until the author is ready. And there's also an expiry option when the post is no longer relevant. Visitors browse the blog categories through the blog menus and click on blog posts to read the post. Let's take a look at the interface. So here we are in OrchestraCMS. And if I want a user to be an author, to be able to author blog posts in my community, within OrchestraCMS, I need to add them to an OrchestraCMS profile. So we'll just refresh that so I can get into my setup menu here. There we go. And when we access the OrchestraCMS profile, you'll see here that I happen to have a profile blog authors, no relevance, just a convenient name. When I edit that profile, I can manage users, and then I can select users from Salesforce to add in as blog authors. Once a user's been added here, they'll then have the ability to author posts within the blog. The next step that's handled by OrchestraCMS is the creation of categories as taxonomies in OrchestraCMS. You can create up to 3 taxonomies that you can then use to provide categories for loading your blogs. So you'll see here I've got my 3 taxonomies, and I've nominally elected to use category group 1 as a author set of categories. I've elected to use category group 2 as a department set of categories, and I've elected to use category group 3 as a product list set of categories. At any point, I can come and edit these taxonomies, add additional categories, and have that reflected in my live community. Here we are in Salesforce, and the pages are built using the Salesforce Community Builder. So when I open up the Community Builder, we'll see here an example of a page that I have built in my Salesforce community. And I can access the page editor mode, and we see a page template in the Salesforce Community Builder. And on the left-hand side, we see a list of Lightning components. So the Lightning components are provided in Salesforce Community Builder as a series of drag and drop components that can be added much like content is added to a page in OrchestraCMS. At the bottom, we see two components provided by the OrchestraCMS blogs package. And you'll see that we've got a blog categories menu that provides the menus for each of my taxonomy categories. I would add 1 blog categories menu for each set of categories that I want to add. So you'll see that these are actually each a distinct piece of content that can be added to the page. And so I select each one and then determine the category that it should be displaying from OrchestraCMS. The second component is a blogs post component that provides the container where the blog posts will be loaded when somebody selects it from the blog categories menu. Once this page is published in the Salesforce Community Builder, a visitor to the actual community itself would see the following front-end interface. And so you'll see here that I've got each of those menus that I placed on the page defined down the side, and I can select any one of the categories from any one of the menus, and the posts that are tagged with that category will be loaded where I placed the blog post loader. Because my user account is defined within OrchestraCMS as a blog author, I can actually see these buttons to create a new post, view only published posts, view draft posts, and view expired posts so that I could perhaps bring an expired post back to life. Those buttons are only available to blog authors and do not appear in the interface if you are simply a visitor. Visitors will simply see whatever categorized blog post summaries they have selected from the given category, and clicking any one of those summaries will take you into the details for that particular blog post, which are all, of course, chatter enabled, and you can follow any particular post or comment on the post. Blog authors have the ability to author blogs instead of through OrchestraCMS directly in the Salesforce community. Blog posts offer a simplified authoring interface, allowing you to select perhaps an image to go with the post, title of the post, and a summary of the post that appears in the initial list of posts when a person picks the category they wish to view. They can also then specify the detail, which will be displayed when somebody clicks on the summary as the actual post that they're trying to read. You can then select from the taxonomy categories. For instance, I could say that this post belongs to Devin as the author and is relevant to both the customer support and customer success departments, and is relevant to the OrchestraCMS blogs product. I have to select at least one category, but I can select multiple tags from multiple categories if I choose to. If I save this post will be a draft post. Visitors cannot see the post until the post is published. Once I publish the post, everybody can see that post. And if I open an existing post as an author, there's an edit and an expire option. If I edit the existing post, it simply creates a new version of the post. If I expire the post, then only authors can see it under the expired posts option. Fantastic. Okay, so at this point, we've completed the demonstration and slides, and I'm going to turn the presentation back over to Devin, who has a few closing statements.
Perfect, thank you. So thanks, Darren, that was fantastic. Just to close out the webinar today, what we wanted to do again is really touch base with you on what type of feedback you can give us in regards to your experience with the product. So let's say there's something that you feel we could add to OrchestraCMS that would help your day-to-day experience with the product. So that, one item that you'd have on your wish list, something that might be top of mind. If you have that readily available to you now and you can quickly add that into the question or the chat feature, please feel free to do that. If not, you can definitely feel free to reach out to me directly, Devin Thompson at Stantive.com, Devin.Thompson at Stantive.com, or reach out to customer success at Stantive.com as well. So further to that, we obviously want to thank everybody for joining us. We really, truly appreciate it. As we said before, we're very excited about the summer release specifically. A couple things coming up. Next week, you will all receive a customer satisfaction survey. I definitely encourage everybody to fill that out. Again, it really is about understanding exactly what we can do to just heighten your experience with the product, but as well your experience with our company. The other thing to watch for within the next month is there will be a series of webinars speaking to our Road to Lightning. So that's something that you will receive and you'll be able to register for as well. So if there's no further questions, I haven't seen anything else pop in here, we will end our webinar. We will be sending out a follow-up email that will include a copy of the recording as well as the slide deck and an FAQ document. So thanks everybody for joining and have a fantastic day or evening. Thanks, Darren. Great job.